The moonlit Pines Hotel stood at the edge of the cliffs, battered by sea winds and shrouded in perpetual fog. Once a luxurious getaway, it had fallen into decay after a series of unexplained tragedies. Yet, something about its desolation called to Emma. She arrived alone, seeking solace after losing her mother to a sudden illness. The grief had hollowed her out, leaving a void she hoped the isolation might fill. The lobby was eerily still, the air heavy with mildew and memories. As Emma checked in, the elderly concierge gave her a key attached to a brass tag etched with the number 413. He avoided her eyes and muttered, "Keep to your room at night." Emma dismissed his warning as local superstition. She was here for peace, not ghost stories. The first night her room was cold despite the roaring fireplace. Shadows danced across the faded wallpaper, forming shapes that seemed almost purposeful. As she drifted into an uneasy sleep, a faint knock echoed through the room. It wasn't the door. It came from within the walls. She sat up, her heart pounding. The sound came again, soft but insistent, like someone tapping out a message. Gathering her courage, she pressed her ear to the wall. Emma. Her name, whispered so faintly she thought she might have imagined it. Her pulse quickened. She pulled away, staring at the wall as if it might come alive. Her mother's voice had sounded like that, fragile and distant, in her last days. The second night, by the second night, Emma was certain she wasn't alone. The knocks continued, accompanied by soft sobs that seemed to rise from the floorboards. She began to hear faint conversations as she walked the empty halls, snatches of dialogue filled with longing, regret, and despair. At first, she thought it was her grief manifesting in hallucinations. But then she found the notes. Scrawled on the fogged mirror after a shower, "Why did you leave me?" A line from a book on her bedside table, underlined in red, "I am still here." The messages tugged at her heart, stirring a mix of guilt and sorrow. She began to wonder if the hotel was alive, feeding on her pain. Confronting the haunting on the third night, she couldn't take it anymore. She confronted the whispers, shouting into the empty room, "What do you want from me?" The air grew icy, and the whispers stopped. Then, in the silence, a shadow appeared in the mirror, a figure that looked achingly familiar. It was her mother, or something wearing her face. Tears streamed down its cheeks. "You left me alone," the apparition said. Emma's knees buckled. "I didn't know what to do. I couldn't save you." The figure stepped closer, its voice a blend of sorrow and malice. "And now you're alone, too. Just like me." Emma realized then that the hotel wasn't just haunted by spirits, it was haunted by grief, by regrets left unspoken and emotions unresolved. It latched onto her pain, amplifying it until she was drowning in it. But as the figure loomed over her, Emma summoned the last of her strength. "I loved you," she whispered, her voice trembling but firm. "And I forgive myself for not being able to fix everything." The figure froze, the shadow in its eyes flickering. The room began to warm, and the oppressive silence lifted. The walls no longer whispered, and the sobs faded into the ether. A new dawn when Emma awoke, sunlight streamed through the cracked windows. The hotel felt different, lighter, as though some great weight had been lifted. As she packed her bags, she noticed the mirror was clear, save for one last message written in her mother's elegant script, "Be free." Emma left the moonlit Pines Hotel, her heart heavy but no longer shackled. The grief would remain, but she had faced her deepest fear, her own guilt, and survived.